Have you ever imagined that two teenagers, tinkering with code in a small garage, could one day change the way the world works, communicates, and creates? This is not fiction. This is the story of Microsoft. A story that began with a dream in 1975 and grew into one of the most powerful forces in the digital age. Welcome to Glorica 26, where stories of vision, struggle, and triumph unfold. Stories that don't just entertain, but inspire. Today we dive deep into one of the most influential journeys in the world of technology. This is the story of Microsoft. A story about visionaries, innovation, and the relentless pursuit of something bigger than just profit. A mission to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. The journey begins in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It was here that Bill Gates and Paul Allen, two childhood friends from Seattle, first saw a real opportunity. They read about the MIT's Altair 8800, one of the first microcomputers, in a magazine. They didn't even own the computer, but they were convinced they could write software for it. That's how bold the vision was. They called MIT's and said they had already built a programming language for the Altair. They hadn't. But they got a meeting anyway. And in a matter of weeks, they built a working interpreter for the basic programming language. It worked. And just like that, the seed of Microsoft was planted. Their goal was simple yet radical for the time: to put a computer on every desk and in every home. Back in the 1970s, most people thought that was insane. Computers were massive, expensive machines used only by big businesses, governments, and universities. The idea that ordinary people might one day own one was laughable to many. But Gates and Allen weren't looking at what was. They were looking at what could be. They officially founded Microsoft on April 4, 1975. The name, a blend of microcomputer and software, said it all. They weren't interested in hardware. They were betting on the power of software. That insight would prove to be one of the most transformative bets in history. As the personal computing revolution began to take off, Microsoft positioned itself perfectly. Their big break came in the early 1980s when IBM approached them for an operating system for its new line of personal computers. Microsoft didn't have one ready, but they knew where to get it. They acquired a simple OS from another company, tweaked it, and presented it to IBM as MS-DOS. It was a pivotal moment. IBM PCs, powered by Microsoft's MS-DOS, became the standard. And with every machine sold, Microsoft software was inside. The company wasn't just participating in the computer revolution. They were defining it. But that was only the beginning. Gates, ever the visionary, knew that the future wasn't just command lines and DOS prompts. He dreamed of a graphical interface that would make computing more intuitive and accessible to everyone. The result? Windows. The first version was released in 1985. It was clunky and slow by today's standards, but it was revolutionary at the time. Over the next decade, Microsoft poured everything into improving Windows. Each iteration brought them closer to their goal, making computers friendly and usable for the average person. And when Windows 95 launched, complete with the iconic Start button, it changed everything. People lined up at stores at midnight just to get their hands on it. That's how much impact Microsoft was having. By the mid-1990s, Microsoft was dominating the PC industry. Windows was everywhere. Microsoft Office, its suite of productivity tools, was becoming a business staple. Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook. These programs became part of the daily workflow for millions of people. But with great power came great scrutiny. The US government launched an antitrust lawsuit against Microsoft in the late 1990s, accusing it of maintaining a monopoly and crushing competition. For a while, it looked like the company might even be broken up. The trial was long, public, and bruising. But Microsoft survived. It made changes, adapted, and moved forward. Then came the 2000s, and with it new challenges. The internet era exploded, and Microsoft, once the unstoppable giant, started to look slow. Competitors like Google and Apple began to reshape the digital landscape. Google redefined how people found information. Apple redefined what technology could look and feel like. Microsoft was still big, but it was no longer at the center of innovation. The company stumbled. Windows Vista was a flop. Its mobile strategy lagged behind. The world was moving to the cloud, and Microsoft was still thinking about desktop software. But here's where the story gets interesting again. Because Microsoft didn't collapse. It reinvented itself. In 2014, Satya Nadella became CEO. And under his leadership, Microsoft underwent one of the most impressive corporate transformations in history. Nadella shifted the company's focus from a Windows-first to a cloud-first and mobile-first strategy. He emphasized collaboration, cross-platform development, and embraced open-source software. Something that would have been unthinkable for the old Microsoft. Products like Azure, Microsoft's cloud platform, took center stage. Suddenly, Microsoft wasn't just a software company. It was a leader in cloud computing, competing head-to-head with Amazon's AWS. Microsoft Teams, its communication and collaboration platform, exploded in usage, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic when remote work became the norm. Today, Microsoft is once again at the forefront. It's not just surviving, it's thriving. It has become one of the most valuable companies in the world, with a market cap in the trillions. And its impact is everywhere, from classrooms to boardrooms, from hospitals to space missions. But beyond the numbers and the products, what makes Microsoft's story truly remarkable is the mindset behind it. This is a story about resilience, about bold ideas, about facing failure, criticism, and uncertainty, and pushing forward anyway. It's about how two young dreamers refused to believe that the status quo had to remain. It's about how software, once a niche field, became the backbone of modern civilization. And it's about how one company's mission, to empower every person and every organization on the planet, continues to shape the future. If there's one lesson from Microsoft's journey, it's this: innovation is never a straight line. It's a messy path filled with trial and error, wins and losses. But with clarity of vision, the right people, and a relentless drive to improve, you can change the world. From a tiny room in Albuquerque to building tools that power entire industries, Microsoft's story reminds us that greatness doesn't start with perfection. It starts with belief. Belief in a vision. Belief in your team. Belief in what the future can become. Thank you for watching this episode on Glorica 26. If you found this story as inspiring as we did, don't forget to like the video, drop a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe for more incredible stories of transformation and triumph. See you in the next episode, where another game-changing story awaits.